Hi there, this is Dr. Sandy Queen with queenhomeschool.com, and I'm here today to talk about our chicken house. I had written a course recently in our Discovering Nature and Science series at Queen Homeschool Supplies, and before I even go any further, if you want to just like and subscribe to this channel, you'll be sure to get the notifications of the other videos that I'm going to do on homesteading. So let me get back to my story about the chicken house. In our course, The Homesteading Life, which is a course on homesteading skills for kids, one of the things that I talk about is being resourceful. That's one of the hallmarks of homesteading, is using what you have on hand. So when I show you my chicken house, it's not going to look like the chicken house that you see at your local Tractor Supply or Rural King store. It's not going to look like some of the professionally built chicken houses that you may see elsewhere online, where people are giving you the tour of this beautiful chicken house. Although after all the work involved with this chicken house, I do think it's beautiful in a different kind of way. I also think it's beautiful to our budget because we saved a lot of money by using things that we had on our homestead already. We've been living here since 1999, so we have accumulated a lot of stuff. We've raised dairy goats, we've raised rabbits, we've had chickens and ducks and many different sorts of animals. And so even though we are a homeschool publishing company, publishing material for Charlotte Mason style homeschoolers since 1994 at Queen Homeschool Supplies, we also have been homesteaders for even longer than that. But here we are in front of the chicken house, and I want to talk a little bit about the things that we use to build our chicken house. So we started off our chicken house by using an old goat shed that we had built previously. We used to raise alpine dairy goats and breed show goats and sell them and milk them and all the fun stuff that goes along with goats, except for the non-fun part of chasing the goats that get out of your fence in your wooded property and run up the dirt road in herds, and you get phone calls from your neighbors, and that's why we don't raise alpine dairy goats anymore. But we've had this little shed, this little barn that we built for our goats, and we thought, why not use that and repurpose it into a chicken house? That was what my daughter Kylie and I thought. What we didn't know, because we got rid of our goats about 15 years ago, was that other family members had decided long before us to use this goat barn as a storage shed. And so stored inside of that goat barn, there were old wooden bookshelves with wheels on them that we would use to wheel our books to conventions back when we used to use that, and display our materials that we publish, our curriculum, as well as old tires and pallets and all kind of junk, basically. And so our first step in using this old goat barn was to clear all that stuff out. And then, you may not realize this, but homeschool publishers don't sell a whole lot of curriculum during the winter months when people have already started school for the year. And so here we were during the months where I don't get a paycheck, deciding that I'm going to build this chicken house. And so, it was very attractive to us to use materials that we already had on hand that weren't going to cost us anything. We ended up spending maybe a total of $100 on this chicken house because some of the roof joists were rotted through and had to be replaced. So that's pretty much, we reused every board from the wooden bookshelves. We reused an old roof from our old dog kennel back when my daughter was she's 36 now. She was 18 when she bred bull mastiff dogs, and we had an outdoor dog kennel with a metal roof on it. So we took that off and reused it for the roof on our new goat barn, or chicken barn, sorry. We reused pallet wood and old pieces of just random wood, whatever we could find laying around our homestead. You will see when I do the next video in this series that I'm going to show you the inside, which I'm not going to do today. We also use some things in some very creative ways, but it works for us. One of the things that we also used was my one son used to work at a sporting goods store, and when the sporting goods store was redoing the inside of the store, one of the things they got rid of were those big wooden signs that they had that hung at the entrance of each department. So they were throwing them away, and his manager said, sure, you can take any of those you want home. So he thought, he loves to hunt, and he brought home this gigantic sign. It was actually a whole piece of plywood with the edges cut all zigzaggy, and it said hunting on it. And he just left it sit out in our yard like a lot of homesteads have. And so that was one of the things, as my daughter and I were scavenging around the homestead looking for things we could use, I saw that big sign. It was a whole sheet of plywood, and I said, hey, why don't we use that hunting sign? And my son had no use for it, so he said, sure, go ahead and use it. So we used an old sign from a sporting goods store. We used some old wooden bookshelves on wheels. We used an old dog kennel roof. We used an old goat barn, and we used some sticks from some property. We have numerous acres, good many acres here, and my son Luke and his wife Jade are building a house on our land, and so we have been working as a family to clear out that land. It's all woods, and so we had a lot of big branches, and we used some of those to build the roosts. So we used a lot of things, mostly things that we repurposed. Now that hunting sign that I told you about with the zigzag edges, we actually cut those zigzag edges off and used them here to fasten the door corners together. And this is all going to be painted over with weatherproof paint. So you'll see just some other creative things that we did. This piece of plywood right here that's painted white, as well as this one whiteboard here. And this is before the whole chicken house gets its final coat of paint, because I wanted to be able to show you this. But these pieces, actually the white pieces, and there's some elsewhere on the chicken house, were actually a wooden storage bed that my daughter Kylie had built for herself when she was younger, that the mattress sat on top of the plywood, and then you could lift it up, and there were compartments inside for storage. And so we took that apart and used all the wood from that to build our chicken house, which needed a new door. The old one was rotten and falling off. And so again, just reusing what we had. My next video, so be sure to like and subscribe this one so you'll get the notification, because the next video is going to show you the inside of our chicken house and how we reused all of those things that I talked about. And there's probably some that I have forgotten about that I will show you when we go inside on the next video. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to check out our homesteading course for kids, it's called the Homesteading Life. And again, you can find that at Queen, Queen, homeschool.com. Thanks for watching.